death. Good afternoon, I'm Michael Benny. Keith Copeland is off this week. They gave DNA samples last week, and today state police arrested all of the adults who were living in Erin Maxwell's Palermo home with her. The 11-year-old was found unresponsive with a cord wrapped around her neck at the end of August. Her death and the investigation into it has remained a fixation of the community. Erin's death revealed a filthy home overrun with animals, and it launched a massive investigation into the Department of Social Services and how it handled complaints about Erin's well-being. It's our top story on CBS 5 at noon. Erin's 27-year-old stepbrother, Alan Jones, is charged with second-degree murder. Court documents accuse him of strangling her with rope. He was hauled into state police headquarters in sweatpants and handcuffs this morning. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. His bail is set at $100,000 cash, $250,000 bond, and he'll be back in court to face the murder charges tomorrow morning. Erin's father, Lindsay Maxwell, was also arrested today. He's charged with 6 separate counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Maxwell has always said he wasn't home at the time that Erin was so badly hurt. He told investigators and CBS 5 he was at Walmart shopping with his wife, Lynn Maxwell. She is Erin's stepmother and the biological mother of Alan Jones, the man who's accused of killing Erin. Lynn Maxwell also arrested this morning. She, like her husband, charged with 6 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. CBS 5's Haley Hines is with the live eye at Fulton State Police Barracks with new information on how investigators came to these arrests. Haley, first, what was the reaction of those people who were hauled away in handcuffs today?
Michael, just stone-faced, emotionless is what the police told us. But for friends, families, and neighbors today, this is the news they've been waiting for more than a month. And some of them gathered here today and called this a joyous day for Erin. Now, like I said, the 3 were emotionless when they were led in handcuffs this morning. Erin's mother and father, when they were led in, they were silent. However, when asked if he was responsible for her death, her stepbrother Alan said no to those questions. Now, all 3 are pleading not guilty to their charges. Police would not go into detail on specific evidence, but revealed that Erin was fed only a minimum amount of food and was locked in her small bedroom every single night. For weeks, investigators have been interviewing anyone and everyone, and they've been thoroughly examining the home. Oswego County District Attorney Donald Dodd said that there was no rush to jump to any conclusions in this case.
The agency that's involved strives to accomplish both an accurate development of information and reliably developing accurate information. There is no timeline that attaches to that.
It had previously been suggested in the media that her treatment could somehow be explained by economic hardship. However, those of us in law enforcement come across many families who face financial challenges. The overwhelming majority of these families do the best they can to raise their children in a safe, healthy, and nurturing environment. The endangering charges suggest that this effort was not being made for Erin.
Erin's stepbrother, Alan Jones, has no prior arrests or convictions. Now, with his second-degree murder charges, he's facing a maximum of life in prison. Lynn and Lindsay Maxwell will face a year in jail for their endangering the welfare of a child charges. All 3 family members were arrested this morning at their new home on Silk Road in Fulton. Michael?
Boy, Haley, the death certificate on Erin Maxwell that was released by the family's attorney last week said that there was sexual trauma on the young girl, and that somehow contributed to her death. What did the police and the DA say about that today, about the sexual trauma in this case?
They wouldn't go into detail about any specific evidence or the charges of sexual trauma today, at least. They said the announcement today specifically focused on who was to blame for the homicide of Erin Maxwell.
We'll find out if it ever goes to trial. Haley Hines in Fulton on the story, one of our many reporters on the story today. Haley, thanks. Later this afternoon, we're going to hear what Oswego County's Department of Social Services has to say about the Erin Maxwell investigation. Last week's report, released by DSS, detailed 3 separate visits paid to the Maxwell home. In 2 of the 3 visits, caseworkers found Erin's father, stepmother, and stepbrother were not meeting minimum standards of living because of the home's condition. However, both reports say Erin was not negatively affected by the condition in the home, which police say was filthy, so nothing by DSS was done. Investigators say the complaints against the Maxwell family in the other visit to the home were unfounded. All this time, Erin's family has said they believe her death was an accident. Back on September 12th, her father, Lindsay Maxwell, gave his first and only interview about his daughter's death. State police always considered the girl's family persons of interest, but Erin's father told CBS 5 back then he had no idea how his daughter died.
I lost my only kid. Lost my daughter, you know.
What happened?
I'm not really sure. We weren't home. Playing, jumping on her bed or something she wasn't supposed to. We don't know. Being foolish with something around her neck. I have no idea.
Erin's father, through his attorney last month, told us that Erin's death was accidental and that she may have been playing out a scene from a favorite movie of hers, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. A scene from that film involves a young girl looking up at a hanging noose. Jackie Siver is one neighbor who has been very vocal about her issues with the Maxwell case. Her daughter was a friend of Erin's. Siver reported the family to DSS after she saw the inside of the young girl's home. Recently, she joined state lawmakers at a rally to push for new legislation to protect children. She says there was trash piled high on the porch and more than 100 cats in the house. Siver told CBS 5 News last month the image of that home is forever embedded in her mind, and there's more, including the smell.
The smell was absolutely horrendous. When I got into the kitchen, the smell wasn't any better. There were live chickens in the kitchen. There were numerous cats. I couldn't tell you how many cats there were, but they were all over the place.
Siver says Maxwell was living in cat feces and eating only one meal a day, but those were categorized as lifestyle choices by social services. You'll hear what she thinks of the arrest of Erin's family later today. CBS 5 is your station for team coverage of the arrests in the Erin Maxwell case. We have 5 reporters right now working every angle we can think of on this story. We'll have live team coverage from the former Maxwell home in Palermo later on CBS 5 beginning at 5.